Welcome to the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast for all decision makers and action takers. Take it away, Esther.
Good morning and welcome back to another episode of the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. Today, we're talking about the market and how it isn't saturated. You're just in the wrong part of it. So, what do we mean when we're talking about the market?
So the market is where your space is for your type of business, your type of industry, and where your audience is currently sat. Would you agree?
Yeah. So, Melanie and I are in the social media managing market. Okay. We manage people's social media. We both do that. We are in the marketing market, the market of marketing. Okay. That's our industry. That's the region that we sit in. And there's times that you sort of think everyone does what I do. Everyone is selling what I sell. Everyone and their dog is doing whatever it is that you do. So you can insert your own market into this. And it feels like, you open Instagram, you open LinkedIn, you open TikTok, and there's hundreds of people offering the same service, right? So you've got all those social media managers, coaches, like everyone seems to have popped up overnight as a coach. Like if you're a photographer, you'll see loads of other photographers. If you're a Canva trainer, you'll see loads of other Canva trainers or any other type of trainer. Whatever it is, it just feels crowded. Right? You feel the same way, Melanie. You're nodding along going, oh yeah, definitely.
Well, I couldn't disagree. It's just overwhelm. And because people don't buy locally anymore, or not typically, they buy what's convenient to them, and everybody's got a website and everybody's got an online presence of some description. We feel saturated to a large extent.
Yeah, but I would argue that it isn't overly saturated. It may feel that, you're like, you live in a street with 100 people and 3 of them are in the same market. That's only 3%, right? It's not that many, but because you know them, then it automatically feels, oh, well, everybody's doing it. But not everybody knows them. They don't know about them. They might not even know that you exist. They might not know that you do what you do. And that's why we're saying today that you're just in the wrong part of your market, right? The market. So they always talk about, as an example, the fitness industry is $1 billion industry. Okay. It's $1 billion market. And if you can get into that, you can get a slice of that pie, you'd be loaded, right? But I open my TikTok and every third video, I don't know what my algorithm's trying to tell me, every third video is a personal trainer or somebody talking about diet and fitness or exercise or, and it's just like, there's so many of them. How are they all getting a piece of this pie? And the answer is simple, because their focus is for different areas. Okay. So obviously, I'm at a stage of life right now. Melanie's at a stage of life right now where we need different things when it comes to diet and exercise. And that is what the algorithm is feeding me. It's not feeding me, newborn, mother with a newborn child, because that's not me. It's not feeding me teenagers, like what teenagers should eat and exercise teenagers do, because that's not. So there are fitness
It's also
industry.
a pointless exercise.
As far as my teenagers are concerned, yes.
Do you know, there are parents all over the globe listening to this podcast right now, absolutely killing themselves with laughter.
Well, not all teenagers are gifted with, the ability to eat everything under the sun, and not put on a single ounce of weight, or that are naturally just love sports and will go out and run around like an idiot for hours on end, so there will be segments of each of those industries. Same with menopausal women. Not all of them are suffering with the same symptoms and stuff. So you have to look at your audience. Same thing we say on most of the podcasts. Look at your audience and see how you can niche down into that and gather what you can from that audience, right? Okay, let's take a step back. What do people mean by saturated, Melanie?
I think they're seeing that there's so many people who compete in a similar space, who have spent, they've spent their time on their messaging, and they feel that other people have very, very similar messaging and very, very similar deliverables, and they don't see how they have a USP. Now, in the space that you and I are in, especially by association with the likes of Samantha Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
and digital women, we have come across an enormous amount of people in our space.
Yeah,
And, you know, I can fully appreciate it if you are in communities as large as these two ones, and particularly like Atomic as well, Andrew and Pete. These are all enormous communities. And you kind of feel a little small. You don't feel distinct or different or separate,
yeah,
which in some ways is good, but in some ways is quite bad. So I
yeah,
feel that the saturation there is that people are looking and comparing themselves at others and seeing all the similarities, but not looking for the bits that are different, that isolate you, that separate you from everybody else.
yeah. Yeah, because I hear I'm not getting enough inquiries, or people aren't choosing me, or I feel invisible. I'm competing on price.
Mm,
That's what it might look like in real life. But if the market was truly saturated, everyone would be feeling the same. But there are people who are fully booked, and there are other people who are charging the premium rates, and
we've met
some of
them.
them
They've been
haven't.
on the podcast.
Yeah. And you sort of feel like some of them have been in the industry less time
Mm,
than you. And you're like, well, how can they do it and I can't? So this is, this is what we're doing today. We're looking at it, and they're growing their audiences. They're getting consistent leads. So the issue isn't the market in and of itself.
no.
The issue is how you're positioned in the market. Okay. So there are three parts to any market, right? It has three layers. There's the crowded middle, that's where everyone's sort of competing, and it's the generic messaging, the stuff that you get from AI of I help businesses do this and I help you do that. You're competing on price. There's no clear niche. You're not, strongly opinionated about one thing or another. You'll just go along with whatever the client thinks they want. And that's the hardest place to be.
Mm,
Okay. Because to your audience, everyone looks the same. You know, if Melanie and I were doing that, then they'd have a hard time deciding whether to choose to work with Melanie or choose to work with me. But we don't, okay? We don't sit in the middle ground, or we try not to anyway. And you shouldn't either. You shouldn't settle for the easy middle, because that's the hardest place to be, is in the middle,
mm.
okay? You've got then the underserved niches. You want to tell people about the underserved niches, Melanie?
Well, this is where people start to go into a bit more detail about what they're looking for. Um, so here's a couple of examples, like food producers. So you've got the cottage industries, the smaller industries, but you've also got the people like the so that's more a produce products kind of thing. But then you've also got the service type of business, which would be like coaches and service, professional service businesses, and even like charities and non-profits. They're all sort of more smaller insular groups, more specific markets. And, at the end of the day, they've had to niche in order to reach their audience. Only so many people can eat certain types of food. There's only
Mm-hmm.
certain types of services. So let's say you're a gluten-free bakery, so it's not going to suit everybody. Non-profits, not everybody wants to work with non-profits. Not everybody wants to work for non-profits, let alone work with them. So it's very much down to where you're, as you said earlier on, down to positioning and where you place your ethos for your business. and helping your audience understand where you are positioned. I think we've used this example before, Esther. When you think of like whatever your national chain convenience, food shops are. So here we've
Tesco,
got
Aldi.
Dunn's,
Yeah.
Super Value, Tesco, and whatever country you have, each of your national chain food convenience stores will be targeting slightly different types of people who have
Yes.
lots of money, people who like a wide range, people who want you to go there just because it's a particular niche product
Mm-hmm.
that they're selling. It could be people who are on a budget, so you could be like the €2 shop or something like that. So, and we have to do something similar with our own brand.
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, your messaging has to reflect that.
Yeah.
So here in Northern Ireland, Lidl prizes itself on, providing stuff from local producers. And that's a big selling point for people who want to buy local. Tesco doesn't do the same thing. They might still buy from local producers, but that's not what they're promoting. They're promoting, more their club card prices and their add-ons and their extra value and stuff like that. Other things like Dunn stores will give you so much discount when you spend so much money, to pay for your next thing. And that's
You have to get
there.
money off, don't you? Money off
Yeah.
vouchers.
And, every store is different. Like Melanie said, some will go for, the higher ticket items. Like I'm never going to go and do my shopping in Harrods because I'm
Or
not
Marks and
spending.
Spencer's.
Well, there's some
It,
things Marks and Spencers are still also have, then they've got better quality, that
oh,
their
yeah.
fruit and veg lasts longer than the ones from Aldi does, so you're buying into different things based on, your situation at the time. And this is the other thing, you can't just think of everybody on your own standards. So if you're sitting there going, oh, I can't afford to pay $27 for that course, so nobody's going to pay $27 for my course, that's not true. Okay, there are people out there, even as we're heading into a recession, there are people out there who have money and will still spend money. And there are people out there who are looking for the bargain and who are, who'll go and shop in Lidl, Aldi, and Tesco because they are cheaper and they get similar produce for it. And there's other people who will go and do their weekly shopping in Harrods. Now, if you don't know what Harrods is, it's like thousands and thousands of pounds worth of stuff for, it's £5 for a pack of 5 serviettes, paper napkins. It's ridiculous. Okay. But
Now,
there are
if
people who go and shop there.
now if anybody used to watch Marmalade Atkins, that's where you can buy camels from.
Nobody knows that reference. I don't know that reference. So based on our audience, they won't know that reference.
I
But
know. It's so obscure.
if you're thinking, like, I don't know many of the supermarkets in the States, but people will go to Walmart and other people will go to Hex and other people, or Heb or whatever it's called, and other people will go to the more expensive shops. Even Target is more expensive for groceries than Walmart. And people still shop there. There's still people going in because they know they'll get better value. They know they'll get what they're looking for. And how do they know
The
that?
fruit and
Because of
veg will
the
last longer.
they will, because of the advertising
Yeah.
that they're doing. So Melanie mentioned about the gluten-free bakery, because that is now on her radar. Okay. A year ago, she wasn't thinking of going and buying gluten-free bread, but now she has to.
I'm
Okay.
gluten-free.
Yeah. And this happens, you don't know who your audience really is. I mean, until today, you didn't know Melanie was gluten-free. You could have a gluten-free bakery. You might want to reach out to Melanie, tell her, I'm here. This is what I do. And this is how I do it. This is where my produce is sold. You should go and try it. Because she spends a lot of her time now researching where she can go and buy stuff for her and her daughter that aren't going to make them sick. And this applies for other food-based intolerances, allergies, everything like that. And the same would happen with any product that you're selling. Okay, so some people are out there looking for the the sustainability element of it. Some people are looking to see how ecological you are with your product. Some people want to make sure that it's a vegan based product, that you're not, using any animal produce in it. Obviously, we're not harming animals anymore, right, people? No animals were harmed in the making of your product. That should be a given. But what other things are you doing? Not everybody will look for that. And that's fine too. Not everybody cares that, there's a little bit of pig fat in the sweets. Some people quite like it. So other people, going back to my lovely example of candles, some people like soy wax candles. Other people like beeswax candles. Personal preference should be where you're looking to niche down. That's what we're saying here. Right. The third space we have, the authority space. Okay. What happens in the authority space, Melanie?
Well, apparently, this is where the magic happens. Okay, so so this is where you can share a genuine story. The hope is it's always genuine, I suppose, but an authentic, genuine story where you can educate your audience and bring them along the journey of learning about your product or your service. And what that does then is it's not just storytelling, it's building trust. And people are connecting with you on a personable level, or that's the aim anyway. And, it's not about, because I suppose the temptation is there's a lot of people will say, well, how much is it? How can I get hold of it? And those are very important questions, but more, they want to work with you. They want to purchase from you. They want to be aligned with you. I think that's a good word, actually, aligned.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that only comes with time. Time doesn't have to be years, but it does have to be multiple weeks, maybe a few months. And
various touch points as well.
Oh, yeah. And UGC.
Different places.
Yeah, UGC is vital here. User generated content is vital. So it's something that we all aim for. And it's the UGC and the testimonials and the reviews and the touch points that make us stand out from our competitors. And that's why I think there's so much validity in the authority of this particular layer because of the 3 layers.
Yeah. So much so she's hitting the mic. She's really hammering.
Got to stop doing that.
Okay. I want you to think now, dear listener.
Oh, thank God it wasn't me. I'm struggling as it is.
I want you to think, right? Think of these things. If you think the market is saturated, I want you to check on these points, okay? Does your content sound like everyone else's? Are you explaining what you do but not who it's for? Are you trying to appeal to everyone? Are you avoiding taking a clear stance? Do you feel the pressure to lower your price? Are you not getting consistent inquiries? Okay, this is important. It's not a skill problem. It's a positioning problem. Okay, you don't need to be better at what you do. You're already fabulous. You do a great job. You just need to be clearer in your messaging. And that could be your messaging in who specifically you help, the specific pain points that you handle. It could be the specific platform that you're using or the method. So if you're just using text only, maybe a photos, videos, audio, test some stuff out. Get very specific about who you help. Okay, stop going to ChatGPT and saying, I help businesses with social media. Instead, be very specific and say, I help food producers grow their visibility on Instagram. Okay, not just on social media, but be specific. Okay, What platform? What's your favorite platform to work on if you're a social media manager? Okay, not everybody loves working on TikTok, said from personal experience. But specific beats broad every single time. The more specific you can be, the better, because people don't have time to be reading between the lines. Okay. We're in a point where people are just going straight for the point.
I think also start being less afraid about putting up your imperfections. I think certainly a lot of the people I work with, Esther, worry so much about making it perfect and making it clean. And do you know what? It's actually quite nice to have an imperfect reel, and a few mistakes. Maybe you didn't leave the sign up long enough, or maybe it's a bit fuzzy or a bit wobbly. As long as it doesn't look put on,
Yeah.
um, it doesn't need to be perfect. And do you know what? It will improve with time. Our first 10 episodes sucked, okay? They were just
Yeah.
diabolical.
Yeah.
And
And they're still there.
yeah,
We
and
kept them up.
it galls us shockingly that the most downloaded and listened to episode is the first one.
Is the first
because
one. Yeah. I think that's what turned most people off listening to us.
I just wish we could change that, but we won't.
And we can't, and we shouldn't.
No. So I think it's important that you share what doesn't work, especially if you're in the social media or digital marketing space, and especially if you're a coach or something like that. Because it shows people that you are human, that you are
Yeah.
infallible,
Yeah.
and it helps people again connect on a personable level, and
Yeah.
just be honest with the results.
Yeah. And I don't have you seen these ones, Melanie, where people post unpopular opinion
Oh yeah.
on social media, and they'll post these, and they're the ones that get the most likes and views
Yeah.
because you're going against the grain. You're standing out from the crowd. You're telling people what you don't like. You're challenging common advice. You're sharing what doesn't work. You're talking about the real mistakes. You're being honest. And you're really just like, you don't need to be controversial with the whole thing.
We don't have
Don't
to do
just post
outrage
it.
marketing, do you?
No. I don't recommend clickbait, rage bait,
No.
any of those things. Just share what is on your mind. Share what annoys you. Because if it's annoying you, it's probably annoying other people. But if you're brave enough to step up and say, look, what that person is saying on how you're going to get 20,000 followers is wrong, because I've watched them for weeks, months, years at this point, and this is their fifth business. And, you don't have to blatantly out somebody, but use it to really show that you are the authority, the knowledge in your area, in your industry, in your business. And don't just post your tips, share your thinking. Okay. Explain why. The who, what, where, why, when, why it doesn't work, when it doesn't work, what happens, what you learned along the way, what you've tested, and how the outcome came about. We've listened to so many speakers and had loads of people on the podcast and stuff that says, yeah, I'm an overnight success. It only took me 10 years to get here. Or, I'm on step 23 and you're in step 1. Can't be comparing, So, yeah. And welcome to the cat. Just so you know, this is recorded live. I think it's dinner time, breakfast time, any time, feeding time for the cat. We just keep going.
He's so loud.
He really is. But when cats are hungry, cats don't care what else has to happen. I'll keep going then, shall I? Well, you have to go off and feed the cat.
Yeah, I'm just going to go and get shot of him because this is insane.
Okay. You got to focus on the right audience, not on more people, right? You don't need more followers. You don't need to have 1 million people with their eyes on your stuff. You just need the right followers. You need 100 people who need your service, and they are worth more than 1 million people who don't. Okay? So I'll not even tell Melanie what I told you. It can be a surprise.
Ah, I'm back. What did she say?
You'll find out later. No, we're only talking about size doesn't matter, basically.
Sorry.
You can have 10 followers who buy from you rather than 1 million followers who don't.
Well, that's
those 10
vanity
are worth
metrics
more.
anyway, isn't it?
Well, yeah. But just remember, you're not competing with everyone. You're only competing with people who look and sound like you. So if you need to change up a little rebranding, change up your messaging, change up the words that you use. Don't, because now in the AI age, everyone can spot the delighted to be doing this and fantastic. If it's not you, don't write it. If you ask AI to do something, reread it, change out words that would sound like you, especially spelling. If you're in the UK and Ireland, don't spell stuff like the Americans, please. If you're in America, don't spell stuff like the UK and Ireland. I mean, it's basic.
Makes a lot of sense, really.
Does, right? But other people won't see it like that. They'll just copy paste and put it in. Okay. What have you got to add to the end of this one, Melanie?
As Esther mentioned, nobody becomes an overnight success. When it comes down to building a platform that your audience recognizes and respects, it takes time. And it also takes a lot of mistakes that you're going to make.
And that's
Now,
fine.
That is absolutely fine. There is no successful business out there that hasn't done something stupid in the past. God's honest truth. And
even Coca-Cola.
Absolutely. And if you have a look at a lot of your competitors' terms and conditions, it will outline the mistakes and assumptions that they've made in the past and how they're prepared to not do that again.
She's speaking from experience here.
I am. So we've been doing this a long time, myself and Esther. And the only reason why we're still here is because we've made these mistakes, realised and recognised what we've done and corrected them, and been supported by an enormous amount of people, from friends and family, loyal customers, work colleagues, associates we've met through events and memberships. And if you think you can do this on your own, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Because you can't.
And you shouldn't, because it's like I was talking to somebody earlier about, I'm a marketer. I know how to market other people's businesses, but I'm awful at doing my own because you're too close to it. You can't see the problems. You can't see the issues. You can't see what other people outside are looking at. So go to your audience, ask them questions. I think I had been in business about 5 years when someone says, "Oh, you do websites? Didn't realize."
I remember you telling me that.
Okay. It hurt, but it was the truth, because I hadn't told them specifically what I do. And if you just say, "Oh, I help small business owners stand out online." Oh, that's lovely. How? Why? What? When are you doing this? Who are you doing it for? Because small business owners are, most businesses in the world. Is there a specific industry? Is there a specific niche? Is there a specific, are there people that you won't work with? Start there and work back to see who you are working with. Okay. And when you do all this and you refine your message and you get clearer, you will stand out. And then the market won't feel saturated anymore. Okay. So that's it for today. It's been a longer one than usual, but I think needed to be said, because the number of times I've heard, "Oh, there's too many people in my industry." Stand out. It's time for you to stand up and stand out. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Does your cat want a roll every week in the episodes?
That was so loud. And insistent.
Very. mean, you really should feed him.
I did. I don't know how he got through the door, Esther. Honestly.
Persistence.
He's quite a big cat, though. He probably just shouldered it.